Welcome to the debut episode of MAME Cheats on Game Mubaka. This is DJ Tautogene, and I'll be using this series to explore some of the cheats available for arcade games through the MAME emulator. What this will typically boil down to is being able to use overpowered boss characters in a variety of fighting games, but this first episode lets us take a look at one of the most powerful special moves in all of fighting games, the Street Fighter 1 Shoryuken. In looking for more ideas on how I can explore fighting games, I came across the fighting game timeline on FightersGeneration.com. Being able to see fighting games on timeline, I started looking at the earliest games available. While there have been notable entries such as International Karate/Karate Champ and Yi Kung Fu that predate Capcom's Street Fighter series, and some may even argue that titles such as Boxing on VCS constitute as fighting games, the original Street Fighter lands in the early fighting game timeframe of 1987. It wasn't until 4 years later that Capcom went all in on a sequel to Street Fighter, resulting in one of the most important video games ever created. I only know of Street Fighter through magazines, which talked about the TurboGrafx version Fighting Street. Fighting Street was also available on PCs, but my family's IBM PC didn't match the disc size format for the available product. Ah yes, the games we couldn't play because the industry moved from 5 1/4 floppies down to 3.5. When I came of age to regularly go to arcade locations, Street Fighter 2 was already in its prime, and you couldn't find any traces of the original game. It actually wasn't until the release of Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2 on PlayStation 2 that I sunk any real time into the first Street Fighter. I remember I had fired the game up in an emulator just into college, but I know I didn't spend very much time at all with it because I didn't enjoy it. Being a little older now, I love exploring fighting games, and that gives me the patience to give the game a fair look and see what makes it tick. Although Ryu and Ken have their trademark attacks in the first Street Fighter, the Hadouken, the Shoryuken, and the Tatsumaki, many players comment on how difficult they are to execute, almost as if they happen purely on chance. The control system was obviously overhauled in Street Fighter 2, resulting in very smooth gameplay inputs that were then essentially copied by other game developers for most of the 1990s. But what if I told you there was a trick to executing the moves in the original Street Fighter? And no, I'm not referring to the cheats in MAME. In this footage, you can see that I am mashing on a punch button, and with the repeated button presses, nothing seems out of the ordinary. But let's slow my commands down and see what is really happening here. That's right, the attacks in the original Street Fighter are prompted by negative edge inputs, or as some say, button-up inputs. Negative edge is when the game recognizes an input as the button is released, and even in the later Street Fighter games, not only can commands occur when a button is pressed, but also released, allowing for some advanced techniques in the games. However, in the original Street Fighter, a command is only executed once the button is released. My theory on why this is stems from the fact the original Street Fighter game had a deluxe cabinet that featured pneumatic controls. These cabinets had only one punch button and one kick button, but they were large rubber buttons the player would slam down onto to execute their attacks. The board had a system of recognizing bursts of air, and executing stronger attacks required the player to physically press the button harder. The standard cabinets reverted to the 6-button layout we are all familiar with today, but the negative edge command system in the original Street Fighter is what I believe would have to be a byproduct of this original pneumatic control design. To put this technique through its paces, I fired up Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2 on the PlayStation 2 as a baseline test of manually executing Ryu's special techniques. After that, that's when the cheating begins. A series of MAME cheats allows the player to toggle a setting that provides easy operation of the game's special moves. You can merely hold down and forward and press punch, and Ryu will instantly perform the lethal dragon punch. Today, it's a study on Street Fighter's special moves. Shoryuken ga Denai! So here we are with Capcom Classics Collection Volume 2, and we're gonna boot this up, get in here. This is also notable because there is bonus content. We need to unlock things, but there's tips and art and music you can unlock. Little known fact, in the original arcade machine, instead of the 6 attack buttons, there were 2 big pneumatic rubber buttons. The strength of the attack was determined by how hard the player hit the giant button. These worked on hoses of air that were connected to the game board. When a player hit the button, a sensor determined how much and how fast air was displaced, and translated that into the strength of the character's attack. Alright, and just real quickly, it's probably going to be a little difficult against the CPU, but just to show the negative edge techniques, hold in the button, and the attack doesn't come out until you let go of the button. So there you have it. Still in this version, you can see the negative edge or the button-up attacks are at play here, likely due to the original pneumatic controls of the game, the way it interpreted the inputs. Here we've reset, we're back in it, so this is going to be just a little bit of playing around with this version of the original Street Fighter. We'll start the game, and we'll go directly to USA. There we go. Getting the negative edge inputs, releasing the button at the end of the fireball motion. And all the slowdown once the fireball hits makes putting in more inputs really ridiculous. It's easy to say you have a grasp on the controls, and then when the opponent is in your face, constantly hitting you, interrupting your motions, your inputs, and the things like the slowdown after the fireball hits. It can be really tough to hit a Dragon Punch when you're in a pinch and really need it. There we go, we got our 60,000 points. So there's our tips. Mostly we want to get to the art because it does have photos of the pneumatic deluxe cabinet. And we've reached Mike Bison. Want to use the fireballs, we do not want him near us. It's just like M. Bison Boxer. It's if he closes in on you and gets in close, it's big trouble. Here we go, just mash, and then we get it. Perfect timing. The timing starts on full, so as long as you're mashing, and you do press the strongest punches and kicks to get the best chance there. It's likely another byproduct of the pneumatic controls originally. If you press the light punch or kick buttons, he will not break the bricks because it's not enough power. So I'm guessing the original cabinet wanted you to hit the pneumatic buttons as hard as possible to get the strongest attack. Here we have the Ninja Geki. It's gonna try to teleport around our projectiles, but... Oh, we just jumped. There's this teleport. Oh, there we go. Wow. That was way too close. Yeah, because Ryu's jump attacks are so bad, if you get stuck in the corner, the opponent gives you a really bad time, the CPU opponents. There's another bonus game defeated. Quite simple, but it's a bit different. And England's where you start running into trouble with Birdie. He's a big boy, a wide body. And he has his dashing headbutt, and if he decides to use it, it negates your fireballs. And he has these overhead punch attacks that do about 50% damage. There, he just, there you go, overhead. I was standing and it hit me overhead. So this is one of the matches. It just depends on the RNG of what attacks the opponent or the computer decides it wants to do. I'm stuck in the corner, so I'm toast. Oh, there we go. If he wants to keep backdashing like that, that's fine. Okay. Take the trade. And Eagle can use his sticks to negate your fireballs as well. You can do it while jumping, unfortunately. Ooh, we got a Dragon Punch and ended with the fireball. Usually works best to get the opponent to jump into the fireball. There's just unfortunately some opponents do have attacks they can do while jumping forward that block out the fireball. Yeah, and Lee's a punk. He gets really in your face, and it's hard to... Once he closes in, it's very difficult to get him away. Okay. Whew, we timed it so he jumped into it. He does have a kick, a jumping kick that blocks out the fireballs. There we go. We got the Dragon Punch working for us in that round. There, the double hit. Finally got it. Alright, another bonus game. Just have one additional board. And still a piece of cake. There, we journeyed to Thailand. So now we have the art, so we can go back and look at the art to see the cabinet, to take a look at those pneumatic buttons. And more from the Street Fighter Alpha series. We have Adon to fight first. Oh. So much slowdown, just messed up all my inputs. And toast. Oh, saved by the Dragon Punch. Wow. I managed to get it twice in a row. So those kicks are brutal, and it's even understanding how the inputs work in this game. If you are hit toward the end of your motion, all of your inputs are eaten. So when you go to release the button at the end of the motion, it just doesn't do anything because you're in a hit stun animation. Here we go. We got Sagat, the character of terror in this game. He basically has his Tiger Knee attack that constantly has him moving forward. It negates fireballs. It is very terrible, very scary. You just have to just pray that your special moves will actually come out. The key is using the Dragon Punch. It's just when he's constantly doing the Tiger Knee, he's in your face, and you know, all the weird things going on with the game, with the slowdown. Oh, there's a Tiger shot straight to the face. Just makes the inputs very difficult to do. Wow, what a round. No way I'll ever be able to do that again. Yes! We cheesed them out. I can't believe that fireball snuck out. Oh man. How fortuitous. There we go, we've outlasted the best. We are now the strongest Street Fighter in the world. That was quite a sequence of events there. I'd have to get the go back and get the actual total, but that was less than 10 continues, which I'm actually shocked. But we did this just to get a base feeling for the game without any of the cheats. And we're gonna go back through this in MAME with the cheats to shortcut the Dragon Punch and just kind of show how much the Dragon Punch utterly destroys the game when you can do it reliably. Alright, so we're back in the bonuses for the Street Fighter game. Congratulations, the objective for this bonus area has been achieved, so we can take a look here. Street Fighter Attack to Defend. When fighting against Geki, his shurikens can be hit out of the air using normal attacks. And that is, in fact, true. If you Dragon Punch, the shurikens will bounce off of you. It's pretty funny. Street Fighter special moves. The special moves for each character are below. The timing is very hard in this game, so don't be discouraged if you have trouble performing them. And as this video is showing, the secret to this is negative edging or buttoning up. So the input occurs when you release the button. So fireball, down, down, forward, forward, plus punch. Dragon Punch, forward, down, forward, plus punch. Hurricane Kick, down, back, back, plus kick. And you saw I never did the Hurricane Kick during the game. The Hurricane Kick is terrible in this game. Has a ton of startup and recovery on it. And it doesn't do anything that you couldn't do with the Dragon Punch. So the Dragon Punch, it's, you know, you get a little bit of a carry forward with the Hurricane Kick, but you have to lift off. Then it moves a little bit forward and then it sets down. So the opponents, the CPU opponents that can jump very high will beat out your Hurricane Kick every single time. And leg up on Joe. Joe is vulnerable to low sweeps and jump attacks, so use them often against him. Or you can just fireball him 3 times and knock him out. But here we go. Here's the real thing we're looking at. We're looking at the art here. So here is the flyer, and you can zoom in. There's the cabinet right there. You can see It's kind of zoomed out, but there's more that we'll see later. This is the deluxe cabinet. It's a big cabinet, and you can see there's the 2 blue buttons and the 2 red button, giant rubber buttons that you slap, and how hard you slap them determines the strength of the attack you're going to do. And the features, we have simultaneous play, so it's a true versus game. You can buy in. If we're playing one player, somebody can put in a credit and fight us, and continuous play, we can continue in one player mode if we are defeated. So pretty standard features. And here we go, here's a Japanese flyer for Street Fighter. And I don't know kanji, I can read this as powerful and exciting. And then I don't know what the middle portion says. I'd have to use a translator to translate that, but so I have the Street Fighter name on the 3rd line there. So you see there's a crowd. You have to wonder when there has ever been a crowd that big around a Street Fighter 1 cabinet, but they are using the pneumatic controls there. And this is a maybe in the operator's manual or some promotional materials. Here's the characters in the game. But of course, you can only play as Ryu and Ken. If you play the 2-player versus mode, 1 player is Ryu and 2 player is Ken. They fight the same. It is a mirror match. If you want to talk about perfectly balanced fighting games, this is a perfectly balanced fighting game because they have exactly the same moves. And I'm sure there's some weird things that's like a left side or right side advantage, or a player 1 or player 2 advantage like there are in some games, but I don't know, maybe at this point in fighting games, Capcom didn't really think that in depth about it. Alright, so here's more features. As far as I can tell, this would be the only place that actually tells you what the special moves are in the arcade version. It's hard to see in this, it's really blurry, but it does appear to have some directional inputs included in the descriptors there. And as I said, if you just pull up to a 6-button Street Fighter 1 cabinet, there is nowhere that tells you what the special moves are. You had to figure them out, which would have probably been really fun in this version. So here's more about the cabinet, the controllers. There's the cabinet once again with the buttons. Yeah, man, look at that stick. That's like the Bob Barker microphone, skinny microphone joystick right there. I don't believe I do not recall the joystick being like that on the US version, but there you have the pneumatic buttons, and Dawn, the Japanese onomatopoeia of something slamming down. So you hammer on the buttons. And I can't imagine an arcade operator loving having this cabinet in their arcade. They'd probably have to fix it all the time with people beating it up. And there we have a little kid. Looks like a little kid just beat a grown-up in Street Fighter. So the grown-up is crying. There we go. This is listed in English here. Strike the pads with your fist. It's pneumatically controlled. And we have the 8-way joystick, the punch pad, the kick pad. So this is, as I said, that's for the deluxe upright, and here's the regular upright. Pretty much, if you do, for some crazy reason, find a Street Fighter cabinet in the wild, it will probably be this regular upright version, which established the 6-button, the 3 strengths of punch and kick. Ryu and Ken, young masters of martial arts, are going to challenge 10 Street Fighters from 5 countries who will be victorious. The last round, can you defeat the strongest men in the world? And here's a little leaflet. This is interesting because check out this art. How they have stylized Ryu in this. It's got his red hair and his red shoes, which he never seemed to have in any other game. But there we can see more, and this is based on the 6-button version. There's the cartoon versions of him doing his special moves. And here you can see this is the US art. The good faces art, as we say on Twitter. There's Eagle, Lee, Birdie, Mike Bison. Alright, so we're back here in MAME. Street Fighter US Set 1 is what is listed as this ROM. And as we see, we can go into the cheat menu, and here's what I'm talking about. We have the easy commands for the special moves. So we have this, the cheat comment, 4 plus K, so back plus kick activates the hurricane kick, easy, sure you can, so that one would be down forward plus punch, and then easy Hadoken, which would be forward plus punch. And there's a bunch of other things. We can make ourselves invincible, get infinite time, instantly kill the enemy, stuff like that. I guess if the background music annoys you enough, you can turn it off. But for the purpose of this, we're just going to activate the ability to do the special moves with very simple commands. So with this set in, we only have to hold down forward and press punch, and we can do a dragon punch, and we're about to see how ridiculous Ryu's dragon punch is in this game. So there we go, we get the dragon dance across the screen, and there's just nothing they can do about it. So do this again, we jump straight into it, we just chase after him, and just, he can't get away. He can't get away from the dragon dance. Now I'll attempt this for Mike Bison, but actually the dragon punch is kind of dangerous approaching him with. You can see he'll probably, there it is, his punch. Ooh, okay, we got underneath him. His punch has a lot of reach, so we got him cornered that time though. It's usually a lot better just to stand back and use the fireballs against him, because like I said, if you don't get it lined up properly, his punch has a lot of reach and he can pop you as you're landing. So we can just go back here and we'll take him out this way. Much like anything with the special moves, 3 hits and they're gone. Now versus Retsu, just gonna continue on. Dragon punch, see, he's threatened, he doesn't know what to do. He's cowering in the corner. We got the double up. I haven't been able to do it as of late, but I've seen it in the past. In certain situations, I have seen that the dragon punch instantly KOs the opponent. It somehow gets, maybe it's a triple hit or something, or if it's some sort of counter hit status or something. But I have seen in the past one special move taking out the opponent. Now with Geki's teleport, he might give us a little bit of shenanigans. Let's see what he ends up doing here. Oh, he didn't teleport that time. He was in the air all the time, so he didn't have a chance to teleport. Alright, yeah, he's being a little bit more cautious this time around. Switch sides. There we go. And do a quick bonus game. The bonus games, they don't seem to give you a ton of points. The end of round bonuses seem to be how you get the most points in this game. But there was a story about how nobody plays this game, and I read online there was an instance where somebody approached a Street Fighter machine, did one punch or kick that gave them 100 points, and they walked away from the machine because nobody played it for score. The 100 points was the actual recorded world record for it because nobody played the game. I don't know if that's true, but I've read that online before. Let's see, we took out Birdie pretty quickly there. Since he likes to dash in with that headbutt, he just kept running straight into the Dragon Punch. Now we have Eagle. The advantage the Dragon Punch has is that the opponents can't take it out. He can't use his sticks like he can for the Fireball to knock it out of the air. Honestly, the best part about Eagle in Capcom vs. SNK 2 is his ability to use his sticks to slap the fireballs back at the opponent. Alright, let's see if we can get this... There we go. You got a good faces screen right there. And Lee's typically pretty aggressive, so he's gonna jump straight into the dragon punches. Okay, okay. And again, there we go. I find that Gen fights very similar to Lee in this game. So again, he's just gonna blindly jump straight into our dragon punches. Alright, there we go, once again. So if he tries to hover above us for that wheel kick, he's gonna get popped by the dragon punch. Oh, okay. I'm surprised that last one hit him. Oh, we got a double. He's hurting. Oh, okay. Oh, there we go. Here we go. We got the final boss, Sagat. Right through the tiger shot. Keep going. Keep going. He's cornered. He's scared now. I love in this game when you defeat Sagat, his eye patch actually falls off. You can see it on the ground there. Again through the tiger shot. Okay, closing in, and there we go. Ryu just dragon danced through the entire game. On the fight over the enemy, and now the strongest Street Fighter in the world. So we took out Joe, took out Mike, took out Retsu, Geki, Birdie, Eagle, Lee, Gen, Madan, and Sagat. So we have our portrait of Ryu. You have earned the distinction of King of the Hill, but remember, you have no time to rest on your glory, for there is always someone waiting in line to knock you off the top. Be prepared to be challenged. Here we go, the end. So we got the tiger butts. And we'll just put this in. So we didn't earn the score, so we're just gonna put in the AAA initials. There we go, game over. But there we have it, very quick, dirty playthrough using the cheats to be able to Shoryuken whenever we please with the easy controls. But hopefully this video showed you a little bit more about the original Street Fighter, especially how the controls work in it with the negative edge or the button up inputs. So just remember, if you're trying to do the special moves in the original Street Fighter, it's all about releasing the button. So the fireball, do down, down, forward, and then let go of the punch button. And you'll have way more success doing the special moves. So once you keep that in mind, your frequency of being able to do the special moves will go up drastically. And hopefully that'll be able to let you enjoy the game a little bit more. You know, get another player involved for some goofy two-player matches, or you can try to tackle the arcade ladder yourself. It's difficult 1cc even with the special move inputs. So once you know what you're doing, because like I said, the CPU can really get in your face. There's a lot of slowdown in the game that can affect your inputs. So even knowing the techniques, you still might not be able to pull them off because the computer puts you in some very awkward situations sometimes. But that's what I have for the original Street Fighter. This is the debut episode of MAME cheats, and we'll be definitely doing some more MAME cheats in the future. Definitely more Capcom fighters, a lot of fighters in mind. But the next video will very likely be WWF WrestleFest, playing as Animal from the Legion of Doom in the Royal Rumble. Done a bit of footwork for that already, so I'm looking forward to that one and sharing a lot of what makes WWF WrestleFest by Technos tick.